You've probably seen those incredible stories of athletes making these amazing comebacks from a serious injury. But have you ever wondered how they actually do it? Well, it's not just about willpower, it's about science. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the careful process of regaining movement, and it all starts with something called active range of motion.
So, whether you've got a sprained ankle or you're feeling stiff after a surgery, the big question is always the same. How do you get back to feeling normal? And I'll tell you right now, just gritting your teeth and pushing through the pain is definitely not the answer. There's a much smarter, more strategic way to get a joint moving again, and we're about to break it all down.
All right, so to really get a handle on the game plan for recovery, we got to learn the lingo first. We're going to start with two key concepts: active and active-assistive range of motion. You'll hear people call it ROM for short.
Okay, so here's the fundamental difference. On the left, you've got active range. That is all you. It's your own muscles firing up and contracting to create movement. Simple enough, right? But on the right, you've got active-assistive range. This is for when your muscles are trying, they're working, but they just can't quite get the job done on their own. That's when an outside force, like a physical therapist's hand or a special tool, gives a little extra nudge. Think of it like this. Active range is you lifting a weight yourself. Active-assistive is having a spotter there helping you finish that last, tough rep.
So when do we actually use these techniques? Well, think of them as the very first step on the road back. They're absolutely essential when your muscles are just too weak to move a joint through its full range. Like after you get a cast off and you have to gently wake everything up again. They're also great for relieving that stiffness you get from sitting at a desk all day, and they can even be a building block for bigger aerobic programs.
But what's the real goal here? What are we trying to achieve? I'll tell you, it's about so much more than just being able to bend your knee again. There are some really powerful things happening inside your body with every single one of these controlled movements.
It's basically a full system reboot. These movements help keep your muscles flexible and responsive. They send critical feedback from your muscles back up to your brain. They even stimulate your bones and joints, keeping that tissue healthy. And this one is huge. They increase your circulation, which helps prevent dangerous blood clots. But it all comes back to one main thing: rebuilding the coordination you need for just normal, everyday life.
Now, this is a super important point. You have to understand what active ROM is not for. If a muscle is already strong, just moving it through its range of motion isn't going to make it stronger. Think of this as phase 1 of recovery. It's all about reestablishing that mind-muscle connection and getting control back. Building real power, that comes later when you're ready for resistance training.
All right, so we've got the what and the why. Now, let's get into the how. And believe me, this isn't just guesswork. This is a precise, professional strategy, and it's all designed for one thing: safe and effective results.
You can see right away, this is a very systematic approach. A therapist doesn't just guess. They start by evaluating the specific problem. Then they choose exactly the right type and the right dose of motion. They pick movement patterns that mimic things you do in real life. And, most importantly, they are constantly watching how the patient is responding, ready to change the plan at a moment's notice.
And before a single exercise even begins, the stage has to be set just right. It all starts with clear communication, so you always know what's coming. Then it's about the physical setup, getting rid of any restrictive clothing, making sure you're positioned comfortably and securely, and making sure the therapist is also in a safe position to help you out. Now, this whole process isn't just about what a therapist does to you. A huge part of this is about empowering you to take control of your own recovery. And a key piece of that puzzle is using tools for self-assisted exercises. So let's open up this recovery toolbox and see what's inside.
First up, we've got the humble wand, or T-bar. And this can be something as simple as a broomstick or a cane. It's the perfect tool for those times when your muscles are firing, but they just need a steady guide to help them through the full motion.
The real beauty of the wand is just how simple it is. By holding it with both hands, your healthy arm basically becomes the teacher, gently guiding your recovering arm through the movement. And what's great is you can adapt this exercise for any stability level, whether you're lying down, sitting in a chair, or standing up. Next up, we have a technique that's just as much a mental boost as it is a physical one. Wall climbing gives you clear, tangible proof that you're making progress, and let me tell you, that can be a huge motivator. This is such a clever way to turn a plain old wall into a progress chart. You can literally make a little mark on the wall each day, giving you undeniable proof that you're getting better. But the key here is to be honest with yourself. It is so tempting to cheat by leaning your body in or shrugging your shoulder to get higher, but that completely defeats the purpose. The goal is pure joint motion, so good form is everything.
Okay, on to another classic recovery tool, the overhead pulley. It works on the same basic idea as the wand. Your healthy arm helps your recovering arm, but it brings in a whole different angle of movement and gets your muscles working in a new way.
What's really interesting here is that using a pulley actually gets your muscles a little more involved than when a therapist just moves your arm for you. Your healthy arm pulls the rope, which lifts the recovering one. But, and listen up, this is a huge warning. If you set it up wrong, you can cause some painful joint compression, which can do way more harm than good. This is one tool where getting expert instruction on your form is an absolute must.
All right, this one is really clever. Let's say a muscle is super weak. How do you make it easier for it to start moving again? Simple. You take gravity out of the picture.
This is just a fantastic low-tech solution to a really common problem. By putting your arm or leg on something like a skateboard, or even just a towel on a slick floor, you create this almost friction-free surface. It's like an air hockey table for your limb. This lets those incredibly weak muscles start to fire and move without fighting against gravity, which is absolutely perfect for the early stages of hip and shoulder recovery.
So, we've talked about the what, the why, and the how. But none of that matters without the most important part of this whole equation, safety. Knowing your limits, that is the absolute cornerstone of any successful recovery. I really want you to let this quote sink in. It says it all. The #1 rule, above everything else, is do no harm. If a movement is getting in the way of your body's natural healing process, then it's the wrong movement, or it's just too soon. Healing always, always comes first. So what does this mean for you? It means you have to listen to your body. Early on, your movements have to be slow, controlled, and they need to stay in a pain-free zone. If you feel more pain or see more swelling after a session, that's a huge red flag. It's a signal that you've pushed too hard. And of course, it's critical to know that in some situations, like right after major surgery or in a life-threatening condition, this kind of motion is just off the table. So how do you keep track of your intensity if you don't have all the fancy tech and heart rate straps? Well, you use a simple but really powerful tool, perceived exertion. It's just the art of tuning in and listening to your body's signals, your breathing, how much you're sweating, how tired your muscles feel. This internal gauge is what helps both you and your therapist keep the work right in that sweet spot where it's safe but still effective. So, as you can see, recovery is anything but a passive waiting game. It's an active, intelligent, and deeply strategic journey. Now that you know about the tools, the goals, and the all-important safety rules, how does that change the way you think about what it really takes to bounce back from an injury?